Hi, I'm Aubrey Mozino from We Make Movies. If you are just getting started shooting video on your iPhone, the best place to start is the built-in camera app. In this video, we're going to look at the basics of shooting video on the native camera app that ships on all iPhones. Open the camera app and slide over to video. The first decision you have to make as a cinematographer is which orientation you want to use. While most social media platforms are optimized for vertical or portrait-style video, shooting horizontal or landscape is better suited for YouTube and professional video content. If you're shooting for multiple platforms, it's easier to shoot landscape than crop in for Instagram than the other way around. With iOS 13, you can change the orientation and even crop your video without leaving the app by pressing the Edit button in the camera roll and then the Crop button. Rotate or flip orientation in the top left corner and crop it in by pulling the corners of the rectangle inwards. If your video is a bit crooked, you can even straighten it by pressing the leftmost circle and using the visual guides to adjust until level. You can also apply a grid to your screen to help you align elements in your shot. This can help you capture more visually interesting shots by lining up your horizon or the eyes of your main subject on the points of intersection of the vertical and horizontal lines. Next, go back to your settings menu and camera option to adjust your frame rate and resolution. Best practices for professional quality content is to shoot at a minimum of 1080p at 30 frames per second. However, if you have the space on your phone, we recommend shooting in 4K at either 24 or 30 frames per second. 24 frames per second will give you a more cinematic quality, while 30 frames per second is used more frequently for documentary, news, social media, or YouTube videos. For high-speed motion like sports, you can bump up your frame rate to 60 frames per second, which will make your videos look very sharp and allow you to use editing software in post-production to slow it down to 24 or 30 frames per second to create great slow-mo. If you have the iPhone 11, you can adjust frame rate and resolution in the upper left-hand corner of the camera screen. Next, find the focus of your shot by going back to the camera screen. By tapping anywhere on your screen, you'll see your dual reticle, which controls both your focus and exposure. Position that to the area of interest, usually the main subject of your shot, and slide your finger up and down to fine-tune your exposure. Once your shot is well lit, you can lock the auto exposure, auto focus, by tapping and holding down that area until you see AE/AF lock pop up. To unlock, just tap anywhere else on the screen. If you're going to be moving from an area that's extremely bright to one that's dark during your shot, like a movement from exterior to interiors, you may not want to lock exposure, as your shot will end up being too dark once you're inside. If you have the iPhone 10 or above, you can switch between the regular wide-angle lens, which is single magnification, the ultra-wide at half magnification, and on the iPhone 11 Pro, the third telephoto lens gives you double optical magnification. To zoom in further, you can either pinch to zoom, or to be more precise, you can long press any of the magnification selections to make the zoom wheel appear. Just note that if you zoom above any of the optical selections at 0.5, 1, or 2, you'll be using the digital zoom, which can degrade the quality of your image a bit and make it look a little noisy. Stay at the optical lens magnifications to have the sharpest and highest quality shot. Once you've shot your footage, you can add music, transitions, and titles by editing it in iMovie right on your phone or upgrading to a pro video editor for iOS like LumaFusion. If you want to finish the project on your Mac, you can export both iMovie and LumaFusion projects directly into Final Cut Pro 10 and pick up right where you left off.